Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandre Veronese. I am an associate professor of law at the University of Brasilia. And here with me, we have...
I'm Amanda Espinheira. I'm a PhD candidate and master in law by University of Brasilia also. We would like to thank you, the Centro LATAM Digital, for the invitation to present our paper in this lightning talk to CPR LATAM 2021 conference. And Professor Veronese will start a little introduction about our paper.
Well, I will talk a little bit about our paper. It has the following title: Regulatory Paths for Artificial Intelligence in Latin American Countries with Data Protection Law Frameworks. It was published at the Revista Latino-Americana de Economia y Sociedade Digital, issue number 2, August 2021. Well, we know that many Latin American countries are heavily investing in AI plans or strategies, focusing on improving their economic development. One crucial feature of any of those policies is the regulatory framework. Besides the widespread mention of ethical guidelines in all those plans and policies, one can explore other regulatory paths like personal data protection law and economic incentives. Our paper describes the AI policies of some countries in the region that also have data protection legal systems. After this description, our paper presents a debate about the limits and possibilities of using data protection to regulate AI. Amanda will explain how this paper is a part of a major research project.
The paper is part of a project on personal data protection authorities in Latin America. We want to understand the social and institutional concept of privacy and personal data protection, along with the role of data protection authorities. Well, the project sponsor is the FAPESP. It's the Foundation for Research Support in the state of São Paulo. It also has research from the Brazilian Internet Steering Committee, the CGA-BR, and the Brazilian Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The investigation has also partnership with the Latin America Faculty of Social Science, the Flaxo Brazil, and Latin American College of World Studies, which is part of Flaxo. Well, I will talk a little bit about our paper. The paper has two sections. The first section, there is some information country by country about the current development of those policies to extract the potential application of data protection law to regulate AI. The 6 countries analyzed are the top 6 position in Latin America in the Oxford Insights, a research from 2020. And the countries are Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, and Brazil. And the second part, the second section of our paper brings the debate about the possibilities and limits of meshing data protection with AI.
Well, here we have like our table number 1, and it shows the status of data protection statutes and administrative authorities to enforce data protection rights in Latin America. It is a real consensus in the literature that AI has the potential to cause deep changes in all societies and economies around the world. In short, many researchers and analysts are focusing on understanding AI as the new center of global geopolitics. But what about its regulation? May the AI policies intertwine with data protection law when it comes to finding solutions to the unfair usage of applications? The European Union regulatory agenda influenced, to a certain extent, the drafting of national statutes regarding personal data protection in Latin American countries. One key aspect is the right to object AI data processing. For example, Chile has a statute about data protection since 2099. Argentina was the second country to possess a statute on the topic in Latin America, which was passed into law in 2000. The focus of these Latin American statutes changed over time. Also, some of them right now still lack some minor adjustments to regulate the new technologies. Well, it's important to mention that 2 countries in our region, Argentina and Uruguay, are really real benchmarks for all the region. The table, as you can show, it shows a little bit of the status of the region. The next slide will show our second table.
The second table talks about the status of the 6 Latin American countries about AI strategies, the status complete or forthcoming. Even the complete AI strategies may have various degrees of deployment. To solve the issue, the Inter-American Development Bank report sees many case studies from each country to provide a general evaluation. Our main objective is to evaluate that the regulation of AI towards responsible usage may, to some degree, rely on data protection law enforcement. It's clear that AI can provide tools to improve in Latin America, that's one. So it's possible to justify the AI regulation not only for increased wealth, although it's reasonable to indicate that some potential threats may arise from the usage of AI. One of them may come from the potential lack of transparency in AI decisions. Also, there can be risks from the potential bias of algorithm and the mishandling of subject data. We have the third table that Professor Vernes will explain a little bit.
Now, table 3, it shows us the possible regulation, the many ways that we can regulate AI. It's really a prospective effort made by us to chart these possibilities. First, we can think about sectoral regulations or about norms and rules to regulate specific sectors of the social life, like health, education, safety, for example. Alternatively, we can think about a more general regulation applicable to all sectors. The second aspect is there are many ways to regulate. Any regulatory model will have to deal with at least 3 variables that are present in the table: data protection law, ethical principles, and economic incentives. Moreover, any actual regulatory model will have to combine those 3 variables in a real dynamic policy to produce the desired effects. Well, we have to say that we can be skeptical about all of this for 2 reasons. The first reason for skepticism is that the topic, regulation of AI, is still ongoing, not only in Latin America, but worldwide. It's very hard right now to assess that any country has a real, complete, and full policy. The second reason has to do with the concept of deliverance. Is it possible to consider a policy delivered without any real empirical evaluation about deployment? What are the variables that we may use, the better variables to assess deployment? Our paper right now, it describes 6 national initiatives of countries, as Amanda mentioned, along with their AI policies. So we can talk a little further about data protection law and how it's applicable to AI. Amanda.
Latin America countries' strategies aim to create foundation for AI with solutions regarding protection. They try to do this by creating safeguards. Those relies on sets of ethical and data protection law elements with which the technologies must comply since its design. Thus, the regional panorama is clearly involved. However, such mechanisms are not enough. Some alternative solutions are complementary and necessary. One way is to insert mechanisms for diminish the potential negative impacts by strengthening personal data protection. And another way is to incorporate personal data protection in the initiatives from AI regulation among the country's digital transformation actions. The paper concludes that any effective regulation will demand investments in technological innovation to produce tools and results. The national AI strategies must go beyond just investment plans. They will only achieve their potential once they cover a synergy between the central players, development of technology projects, and evaluate these mechanism consequences in the economic, social, and legal fields. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Here you have our email contacts if you want to contact us. And I guess the reading of this article will give a little bit of food for thought about meshing in data protection policies with AI policies. Thank you very much.